A knock on my bedroom window sliced through the night and yanked me out of sleep. Dream? I muttered, half awake, sitting up and feeling around for my slippers. I froze. No, wasn't a dream. From the window came a faint rattle, like someone was still tapping the glass with a fingernail. In the quiet, my heart hammered loud enough to give me away. I crept closer and listened. Nothing. Hand shaking, I pulled the curtain. Just a dirty pane and a dying cactus on the sill. Outside, nothing. Still, while I stood there peering into the dark, I could feel a light vibration in the glass. No clue where it came from. I threw on a robe and shuffled to the kitchen. One cigarette later, I was fully awake. Why am I surprised? The windows are ancient original frames from the 60s, half rotten in places. I still haven't sprung for real double-pane replacements. Around here it's quiet, but let one heavy truck rumble down the avenue, and the panes start to buzz like they're about to crack. Probably the same thing tonight, I told myself, pulling smoke. But it didn't feel the same. Something in my gut stayed tight. Work thoughts finally pushed the worry aside. It was almost 4. I needed another couple hours. The next day, I barely thought about the night. I'd given myself a sensible explanation. No point chasing shadows. By 9 that evening, I was cutting through the hollow courtyards between our mid-century walk-ups and dented dumpsters. Past the daycare with those weird, fairy tale figures someone had made out of old tires, creepy in daylight, nightmare fuel after dark. My building looks like 100 others, a tired 5-story slab from another era, but mine always feels especially bleak, inside and out. The neighbors don't help. If half of them could get away with murder, they'd try it, especially in my stairwell. Only person I halfway chat with is Uncle Walt from 5F, a decent, beat-up handyman with a bad liver and good hands. He met me by the entrance that night, a rolled newspaper cigarette tucked in his teeth. "Evenin', Paul." "Hey, Uncle Walt, how's it going?" "Fine. Needed a little fresh nicotine," he rasped. "What, not enough air inside?" I joked. "Been home all day. Gotta breathe the streets sometime. You coming from work?" "Yeah, dead tired. Rain check on the small talk, I gotta crash," I rattled off, not eager to hang with a tipsy neighbor. On the way in, I passed Linda from 1A, the building's self-appointed gossip bureau. Always scowling, always knowing everyone's business. I nodded. She ignored me. All I wanted was a shower, hot tea, and bed. I made it happen. Apartment went dark. I wrapped up and closed my eyes. The tapping started again. Light, steady taps, the glass humming under them. I opened my eyes, listening. This wasn't a truck a block over. This was on the window, like a knuckle. The buzzing lasted a minute, then silence. My skin crawled. I didn't want to leave the covers, not even to check. Same view as last night, I told myself. 2 weak streetlights, a thicket of parked cars, the daycare's rubber monsters. Nothing to see. But I had heard it. In a dead quiet apartment, when the only other sound is the wall clock, you don't confuse that with anything. And I live on the 3rd floor. Who climbs a flat brick wall just to tap a random window? There's nothing to grab out there. Tomorrow I'll ask Walt, I decided. Maybe he heard it too. Exhaustion won. I slept through the rest of the night. Morning wiped it from my head. I overslept, and the only thing I cared about wasn't getting chewed out at work. 2 nights in a row, I chalked it up to stress and imagination. That evening, I didn't see Walt outside. Climbing the stairs, I debated whether to knock on his door and ask about the tapping or let it go. My gut said, ask. So I did. I changed, grabbed 2 beers from my fridge, and went up to 5F. Knock, shuffling steps, chain off. Hey, Paul. Evening, Uncle Walt. Mind if I held up the bottles. You're kidding? Get in here. He laughed, towing scattered shoes into something like a line. You visiting or you need something? Straight to it, I said. I've had tapping on my window 2 nights in a row. Then the glass vibrates like a convoy's outside. Am I losing it, or did you hear anything? Walt's face changed. Yeah, last night. You heard it too. I wasn't asleep. I was soldering a tape deck for Steve in the next building. From the living room, I hear this sharp, ringing knock. You know my windows, same vintage as yours. He dropped his voice like someone might be listening in the vents. I put the iron down, go to the bedroom, flip the light. Now don't get me wrong, kid. You know I like a drink, but I only had a couple with Steve. I wasn't seeing things. I kept quiet so he'd go on. Something was crawling up the building, he whispered, like a rock climber. Who in their right mind scales apartments at 3 a.m.? Some idiot thrill seeker? No. Cross my heart, it wasn't a person. I didn't see all of it. Too fast with the arms and legs, but it was naked. Skin this sick gray green. It slapped a hand on my window. That's the tap and the buzzing. The hand was huge. Bigger than any heavyweight's, like 3 times bigger. He made the sign of the cross and took a swallow. It stopped for a second on the floor below. I caught its shadow out of the corner of my eye. You could shoot me where I sit. It wasn't human. I splashed my face with cold water, came back, and it was still there. I didn't go right up to the glass. I didn't sleep till sunrise. Didn't nap today either. He looked at gray and hollow. Part of me wanted to blame the bottle. But I'd heard the taps too. That's what scared me. Who lives under you? I asked. Old lady Ms. Louise. You've seen her. Hardly leaves the place. Pink scarf all the time. Why? No reason, I lied, finishing my beer. I should go. Believe me or don't, Walt said. But be careful. Whatever you do, don't look out the window. Wait it out. Hide somewhere. Yeah. Thanks for the hospitality. Good night. I forced a smile and left. Back in my kitchen, I lit another cigarette. The whole thing felt ridiculous. Yet I believed him. Night slid over the courtyard. The block went quiet. My fatigue finally settled in, gluing my eyelids. After dinner and a shower, I crawled into bed with one promise. Whatever happened outside, I wouldn't react. I needed sleep. I don't know how to explain what happened next, not just that night, but in the days after. It felt like talking to Walt had flipped something. Things started happening that don't fit any sane category. The night wasn't kind, like he'd wished. Around 3, a heavy blow slammed my kitchen window. I jolted upright. Somehow the glass held. No shatter. Before I could process it, a second thud hit a window in the other room. How? I whispered. 3rd floor. What the hell is going on? My heart tried to climb out of my chest. Sweat ran cold. The only plan my adult brain produced was hide in the bedroom closet. So I did. A minute later, a soft tap on the glass and silence. Believe it or not, I sat in that closet until dawn, eyes wide open. Only when a gray blade of daylight slipped through the door seam did I crawl out. I checked the windows, no one outside. I exhaled. Then I walked into the kitchen and froze. On the outside of the glass was a perfect handprint, not a smudge. Fingers, palm, everything, as if a giant hand had pressed there. Up close, it looked like whoever left it had packed mud into every line of the skin and then pushed hard. The fear that hit me then. I don't have words. My hand shook like I'd suddenly developed Parkinson's. I couldn't stop trembling. I popped a calming pill. Useless. Called my boss. Said I was sick. Lit a cigarette with a shaking hand. 3 nights in a row something had tapped on my window. But who? What did it want? And how the hell was it climbing to the 3rd floor? Fear curdled into a stubborn need to figure it out. Maybe a burglar, scoping apartments. But the print, whatever touched my glass, wasn't a human hand. Not even close. Maybe Uncle Walt was right. I went up to his place. No answer. Weird. He's always up early, always running errands, even though he doesn't have a job. Since I was already out, I dropped to the 4th floor to check on Ms. Louise, the old woman in the pink scarf Walt mentioned. Her door stood open. Curiosity overruled common sense. I stepped in. Chaos. Clothes everywhere. A mirror on the dresser smashed. No sign of her. But on the window, the same kind of print I'd seen on my glass. It got worse from there. Ms. Louise was just gone. And over the next few days, so was Uncle Walt. I didn't see either of them. They weren't family. I told myself it wasn't my business. I didn't call the police. I can't explain why. Maybe I was afraid they'd pin something on me if this turned into a missing persons case. Days passed. No Walt. No Ms. Louise. And strangest of all, no tapping on my window. The silence didn't help. Darker thoughts crept in. I didn't care much about the old woman. I barely knew her. But I worried about Walt. Every evening I called his phone, knocked at his door. Nothing. No footsteps. No rustle. No sound at all. Something happened. I whispered to his door one night. "It's me, Paul." At last, soft shuffling behind the wood. The lock turned. Walt looked like a man who'd been scared half to death. Hunched, sleepless, eyes rimmed red. "Jesus, Walt. What happened?" "Get in," he said. "Quick." I stepped inside. "Paul, I saw it," he said. "Walt, I had a print on my window," I blurted. "Not just a print. Forget that. Come look." His voice shook. He led me to the bedroom window, parted the curtain. I sat down hard on the edge of the couch. Multiple handprints smeared the outer glass. Same as mine, but there was also something else. An oval face print, like a mask pressed hard to the pane. "It watched me all night," he muttered, sloshing vodka into a shot glass with trembling fingers. "All night, Paul. 3 nights now." "Why didn't you call the cops?" "I did. They came." He swallowed. "But that bastard knows things. Every time they showed up, it was gone. Like it felt them coming. Then it came back. Meaner. I figured one thing out: don't look it in the eyes. Hell, don't even look at it at all. When you don't, it just fidgets. Taps. But the second I glanced, he pointed at a spidering crack in the pane. It hit so hard it nearly came through. If it had, I don't think you and I would be talking. He drew a breath. I'm getting a shotgun from Parker downstairs. I can't sit here like a statue. What if it tries the door? It's a devil, Paul, he said hoarsely. A real one. God forgive me, but that's what it is. I don't know what lab conjured it, or from where. Let me try something, I said. A buddy at work installs security cameras, surveillance stuff. I'll borrow a couple, set them up, and we'll see where it's coming from. Do it. I'll get the gun. If you hear shots, don't call the cops. Run. They'll only make it worse, and somehow we'll end up the bad guys. I called my friend. He owed me. He'd wired our office, and I'd covered for him a dozen times. By evening, 2 cameras were mounted feeds patched to my laptop and phone. That same night, I heard more news. A few more people from our building were missing. A cruiser idled outside the 4th entrance. Officers interviewed folks in robes and slippers for hours. Then the blue lights left, and the scared faces went back inside. Cops don't do well with things that stink of witchcraft. The tapping came back to my window after midnight. My heart synced to the knocks. Palms slick, I fumbled for my phone. The living room window exploded, a single brutal impact. I dove into the bedroom closet and pulled the door shut, thumbed open the camera app. Oh God. I clapped a hand over my mouth. Rewinding the feed a few seconds, I watched a humanoid shape scuttle up the brick like an insect. I couldn't see its face, but the way it moved nearly made me lose control of everything. People don't cling to vertical walls like that, and it was big a head and shoulders larger than a person. I watched it smash the glass and flow through the opening into my apartment. It was here. In the dark, I heard it, crunching over shards, the sound of breath like a rasp saw working through wet wood. Step by step, closer, closer. It stopped right in front of the closet. The fear that took me then. I can't wrap words around it. My body locked. I didn't dare breathe. I know you're in there, it said. Voice shredded and wrong, words pushed out like they hurt. I felt hot urine soak my jeans. A soft, mocking tap, tap, tap on the closet door. It was savoring it, stretching out the moment. The only thought that cut through the fog was to text Walt. Now and pray he saw it. Hands shaking, I typed, blind. Then I started praying out loud, dragging up whatever I remembered of the Lord's Prayer. The door squealed open. The first thing I saw was its hand, if you could call it that. A dark, filthy appendage, fingers of mismatched lengths woven together, reaching for me. The building boomed a thunderclap down the hall. My front door blew inward on the chain, and bright stairwell light flooded the entryway. The thing recoiled, skittering backward toward the window. A silhouette filled the doorway, Uncle Walt with the shotgun. The creature smashed the other window, vaulted out, and was gone. I stayed in the closet shaking, crying, a dark stain spreading on my pants, staring at the man who'd arrived at the only moment that mattered. It took smelling salts and cold water to pull me back. Walt did both. The police came fast. Of course, they cuffed Walt and parked him in the squad car. Can't blame them. Someone heard the blast, called 911, and when the officers arrived, they found a blown door lock, a jittery, drunk-looking guy with a shotgun, and me, a wreck, open and shut on paper. Luckily, it ended okay. They released Walt that night, confiscated the gun, and handed him a fine. I talked to the officers, slipped them a little help with the paperwork, and covered Walt's ticket. No one bothered to put the gun on the official report. Walt's fine now. No more pounding on his window. He sleeps again. I can't say the same. I forgot to turn off the cameras. They kept overwriting themselves. And when I scrubbed the footage, nothing. No creature. Like it had learned. A week of quiet went by. I started to unclench. Then the emails started. Invites to store openings, special events, midnight warehouse sales. Different addresses every time. Except the addresses weren't stores. They were abandoned properties. Places in our city everyone knows are empty. I know who's sending them. I don't know how. It's smart. It learns. It watches. So here's the only advice I have. If you hear a light tapping on your window after midnight, grab what matters and leave. Go to family, a friend. If you have no one, rent a room anywhere else. If you can't leave, set up cameras. And if you legally can, keep something to defend yourself. Maybe, when it comes, you'll see it first. Maybe you'll be ready. Maybe you'll still be here to tell someone what you saw.